Promising young trainer Jack Harrington didn't have your usual upbringing into the harness racing industry. It wasn't until he had a family outing to the races that he decided he'd give the sport a shot.
It was at Melbourne races and I actually had a bet on a horse that got beat, and I thought to myself I could have driven it better than that. So we took the race book home, and I was still at school at the time. I was a wee bit shy, and my mum actually rang up a few trainers around the area for me and to ask about who needed a stable hand or if there was a part-time job going while I was still at school, and yeah, and we just went from there really.
With very minimal exposure to the industry, it was his confident attitude and courage to try new things that helped him land his first job as a stable hand not long after.
First was Andrew Stewart. That was who Mum got hold of first of all, and he said, yeah, no worries, come down tomorrow. And so I rocked up the next day because it was school holidays at the time. And yeah, I pretty much spent the day with him, and I just started off mucking out boxes.
After a stint with Andrew Stewart, Harrington moved to the stable of Tim Butt to further his exposure and increase his knowledge of the industry. He credits a lot of his skills and success to both trainers. When
I was at Andrews, he was actually really good. Since before I went there, I never touched a horse really, apart from patted one on the head. That's about it. And so he made me work in stages. Like I had to know how to muck out a box first before I could even go and gear up one of the horses, and then I had to know how to gear up a horse before I could go out and actually drive a horse. And once I'd done that, I was away. But yeah, like Andrew sort of taught me the base foundations of what it is to be a horseman and general skills and that, like everything I learnt off him about that. And then yeah, when I was at Tim's, I sort of learnt a lot more about looking after those real top quality horses, because at the time there was Choice Achiever, Masters, Vulcan, we got Peak and all those sorts of horses, and being surrounded by them all the time, you get to learn the finer details about what it takes to be an average horse and a good horse. And just the way that Tim used to condition his horses before really get some hard work into them was key, I think.
With any young person starting out in harness racing, it takes many people to help you find your feet. Harrington was lucky enough to receive plenty of support from both his family and other industry participants.
Obviously I wouldn't be in the position I am without all the people that have helped me. From the first person that was brave enough to put me on a horse in a junior race, which was Dave Mitchell. He was the first one that said I'll give the kid a go. Jamie and Natalie Gamerson, when we were taking horses to the sales, and they helped me a lot through that sort of experience and showing me about that, and Natalie at Cadets as well also. But yeah, then like Andrew Stewart, Tim Butt, Robbie Holmes, Carla Holmes, they've all influenced me a lot in my career and helped me get where I am and teach me everything I know. And then also obviously my parents, without them I wouldn't be able to be where I am, and they've helped me a lot financially, which I'm sure they'll remind me in years to come that when I have to pay them back. But if they didn't help me in that retrospect, there's no way I'd be able to be where I am, and I'd probably just be a glorified stable hand.
It hasn't always been a walk in the park, however. The harness racing industry can be hard to break into, even with family ties. So for Harrington, trying to make a name in the industry with no background in the game made it even tougher.
I remember you go to Cadets and you're surrounded by everyone that's been born into the industry, and their parents were born into the industry, and they've all known each other for years, and I felt like I was sort of on the outskirts for a few years really, until I sort of got my own sort of comfort zone. But yeah, it was very difficult to feel confident around everyone, and feel like you could talk to everyone, because you just feel like you're on the outer. But after a while you learn that it is just like one big family.
Trying his hand in harness racing has had many huge highs and lows, and sometimes Harrington admits he thought about throwing in the towel.
Yeah, there's been a few times like that. I think it is an industry that it can just chew you up and spit you out, and you've got to be quite relentless and ruthless in what you do, and you can't sort of stuff around too much, otherwise you will just get left out the back. Yeah, But yeah, there was a few mornings I used to wake up and think is it all worth it?
But the highs far outweigh the lows, and it wasn't long before things started to look up.
When I started training and Hey Yo, when she started winning races like she was winning, and I started to get a bit more noticed, and that was definitely the start of it.
And now Harrington is in a position that most young people in the industry would envy, and not even he expected it to happen as fast as it has.
I think 18 months ago all I was happy doing was just breaking horses in for everyone, and Paul Court's been a big help with that. I just do most of his team, and that I was happy just doing that really, and just doing a couple of my own and pottering around. And when you get one good horse perform and then someone else gives you a horse and then you find another one, and I just 18 months ago I thought it'd take me 5 to 10 years to be where I am at the moment.
Harrington made the brave decision to take talented 2-year-old trotting filly Renesmee on a trip across to Melbourne to compete in last month's Breeders' Crown, and it paid dividends for him, coming home a Group 1 winning trainer at the age of just 23.
Going into it, I was very confident of how good my horse was, but you can't go into a Group 1 expecting to win it. So I was sort of, I suppose, talking it down a wee bit, but I did know that she was good enough to win. And I think at the start of the race, when Moonshine Linda galloped off the gate, that was probably the only horse I was worried about during the race, because I thought, if it gets off the gate and crosses us, we could end up 3 the fence and be in a bit of trouble. So once that galloped, I was actually, pretty happy and confident, and I think I lost my voice at about the 100-metre peg when there was 100 to go, and we were jumping around screaming. There was still 200 metres to go, and one of my friends was with us and he was trying to hold me together, saying, no, it's just a 2-year-old trotting filly. But no, we sort of knew her manners would get her over the line, and no, it was great.
Last season will be hard to top for Harrington, but like anyone who is driven in the industry, he is always looking to improve and get better results, so it's no surprise that he already has his goals in place for the season.
Well, last season at the start I set a goal of trying to get 10 winners, and we've done that. We got 12, so I was happy with that. So this coming season we've set a goal to try and get 20. We figure we'll double it. So that's the first immediate goal, and then probably really just trying to get Renesmee back to those big feature 3-year-old trot races, and hopefully be able to pick up another group race with her would be great. And then just a couple of the other horses in the stable like Hey Yo, try and get her to establish herself in that open class trotting ranks, and see what Bailey's Knight can do for us as well, because he's another horse that I actually really like, and I think he's got a lot of ability. It's just mentally he's not quite there yet, but hopefully this season will the penny will drop with him and he can win a few nice races.
There are no doubts this story has many more chapters to come, and we can't wait to see what they are. But if nothing else, let's hope his story inspires another young person to give harness racing a go.